I know it's been a while, but I'm finally back with a new video. Terraria is one of my favorite games, and it has a great weapon variety. Even within a class, there's numerous subcategories you can use. So in this video, I'm going to be beating Terraria Master Mode with only swords. It's definitely not the hardest challenge, but I think it'll be interesting to explore the ups and downs of the subclass. To start the run, I chopped down a small forest, then built some beautiful NPC housing. Proceeding to the right, I found a starter cave that transitioned into the ice biome. Pretty quickly, I found a life crystal, then a chest with flurry boots. If I could find a blizzard in a bottle, my accessories would already be good enough for the Eye of Cthulhu. Also, seeing as this is a swords only challenge, I was hoping to maybe find an ice blade, which is basically just a discount enchanted sword. After some more exploring, I managed to snag a blizzard and decided to recall because the cave was starting to dry up. While looting the ice biome, I got a grav potion, so I started exploring for Sky Islands, hoping to find a Star Fury, as I really need a better weapon. Unfortunately, I only found 2 balloons before running out of buff time on the gravitation potion. Seeing as I had no luck finding a Star Fury, I tried to look for an Ice Blade again, because Frostburn is pretty strong in the early game, but I had to recall quickly to escape certain death. I explored all the way to the right of my world trying to find a sword shrine, but all I discovered was a fake out golden chest. Back at my base, I made an instant elevator to look for any purity caves or mineshaft openings to get more grav potions, but I didn't have much luck, so I explored the left side of my world to the beach, but again failed to find an enchanted sword. I decided to simply craft a sword. However, the first sword that may come in mind, the Blade of Grass, seemed out of reach, as killing jungle mobs would be very hard with an iron broadsword. But by bombing Crimtane veins underground, I was able to craft the Blood Butcherer, which inflicts a powerful damage over time debuff. I was also able to craft up magic storage at this point. Now that I could effectively kill jungle mobs, I ventured into the Mahogany Depth to get the materials for the Blade of Grass, the next sword on my list. The underground jungle also has the chance for Feral Claws and an Anklet of the Wind, which are both going to be necessary later on. Pretty quickly, I got a pair of Feral Claws and an Anklet to make lightning boots later. I kept exploring to find more life crystals and farm materials for the Blade of Grass. In the process, I got another gravitation potion, and was able to get Fledgling Wings and a Star Fury from Sky Islands. After popping a Crimson Heart to enable the Goblin Army, I went back to grinding jungle mobs. Of course, as soon as I tried to craft the Blade of Grass, the goblins invaded, but I eventually crafted it and made swift work of the event. I then went up and down my elevator with a hunter potion to get the Goblin Tinkerer, and after buying a workshop and some quick reforging, I made lightning boots and a blizzard balloon. I made a quick arena to fight the Eye later, then fought the Blood Moon mobs. One of the quality of life mods I'm using is a craftable items mod, but it also adds cloud enemies that rarely drop missable loot, such as Fledgling Wings or swords, and from them I got an enchanted sword and a Terragram. Although at this point both weren't very useful compared to the might of the Blade of Grass and Star Fury. At the last second of the Blood Moon, I dropped a Shark Tooth necklace, which was the item I actually wanted. Next, I went over to the Crimson and crafted up some boss summons. I then fought King Slime and he went down unsurprisingly pretty easily. I just used the Star Fury to fight him while he was far away and switched to the Blade of Grass for some burst damage when he teleported in close. Once it went to night, I spawned in the Eye, and during the first phase I used the Star Fury to target his slow moving hitbox. Once he entered the second phase and began dashing, it was hard to aim with the Star Fury, so I switched to the Blade of Grass, which has a large hitbox and a close range projectile, which took him down easily. Immediately afterwards, I blew up some hearts and fought the Brain. While he might be smart, his battle IQ was definitely lacking, so I just swung my grassy blade to victory. After fighting another Brain of Cthulhu for some cash, I bought an Eater Summon and took him down as well. The Worm Scarf would come in handy later. Using the tissue samples, I made a Deathbringer pickaxe and mined up some Hellstone. Now that I had my shiny molten armor and a volcano, I was ready to take on the world. So I headed to the dungeon to face the next opponent of my sword-centric strategy. The first attempt I was being dumb and died pretty quickly, but with some basic buffs I won on the next attempt. The volcano's large hitbox could take out Skeletron's hands pretty easily, and by slowly running forwards when he tried to put me in the spin cycle, the back of the sword's hitbox could damage him, and with some supplementary Star Fury attacks while he spat skulls at me, he went down. Now that I had access to the decrepit depths of the dungeon, I found a cobalt shield and needed to grab a Muramasa to craft the Knight's Edge, the final sword of pre-hard mode. After exploring most of the dungeon, I finally found one and made the Knight's Edge. I wanted to craft the Stinger necklace for a boost to my healing, so I took on Queen Bee, and after throwing twice I beat her and luckily dropped the honeycomb on my first try. With my new Stinger necklace in hand, I farmed up a few brains for reforging funds and got legendary on the Knight's Edge and menacing or warding on all my accessories. I buffed up and summoned the wall, but I was a little too aggressive and died when he was on 1000 health. The Knight's Edge is pretty crazy for this fight though, so we went down easily on the next attempt. Now that I was in hard mode, I aggressively pwned some altars and worked my way up the ore cast system till I mined all the titanium I would need for my armor. I wanted frost armor for the debuff, as I figured I would be hitting the mechs pretty inconsistently. I valiantly used a lava trap to grind the frost golems, then killed a wyvern to craft frost wings to go with the armor. Now that I had my new gear, I farmed some souls underground and expanded my arena. I decided to fight the destroyer first, as I figured it would be the easiest to fight with my limited range. After getting some unwanted head, I added buffs to my arena which helped me offset the constant contact damage. The fight was pretty easy. I just whittled away at the destroyer and focused on the bunched up areas. My health didn't really dip apart from the end when I tried to lose the fight at the last minute. Now that I had hallowed bars, I craft the Excalibur, boosting my DPS and range by a large amount. After getting some more Souls of Light, I decided to fight Prime next. The fight wasn't super close, but I could tell with a few more attempts I could win. After another death, I tried fighting the twins, but it wasn't even close. So I spent over an hour killing everything Cthulhu. And finally got legendary on my Excalibur and bought Flesh Knuckles to make a Berserker Glove for more defense. With my fine-tuned gear, my rematch with Prime went much differently, as at this point I had thrown on an Obsidian Shield for more defense to avoid getting juggled by Prime's Cephalopod build, and after a relatively short fight he went down. While my buffs were still active, I tried the twins, but without a good ranged option, I fell into their trap and was whittled away by constant laser barrages and curse flame tick damage. I was out of money again, so I killed even more Brains of Cthulhu and sold the bars. With the money, I got more warding on my accessories and added bass statues to my arena. This got me closer to victory, but after finally overcoming my greatest enemy, being lazy, I decided to fight some frost mimics for the frost brand, which occasionally fires a projectile. With my new sword in hand, my full frost loadout took the twins down without much issue. Although, as per usual in this run, I nearly threw in the last 30 seconds. Now that the mechs were defeated, I crafted the True Knight's Edge, which is kinda useless after the rework. I also dropped 2 platinum on glove accessories and grabbed some chlorophyte ore to make the true Excalibur. But I needed emblems, so I killed a few walls of flesh and made the mechanical and flame gauntlets to boost my melee damage and speed by 24%. My first attempt on Plantera was pretty bad, as for some reason, I didn't bother luring her all the way into the platforms on my arena, so I kept running out of flight time. Luckily, with my completely original strategy of flying in circles, I won on the next attempt, although it got close in her second phase. Luckily, I got the Seedler, which is only a 6% drop from her treasure bag. I've also never used it before, so instead of going straight to the Terrablade, I decided to use the Seedler on Duke Fishron. At this point, my build was really coming together with my 3 gloves and emblem. My damage and attack speed boosts were off the charts, and the Seedler proved to be very powerful. I made quick work of Fishron, although my outdated wings made it hard to maneuver around vertically. I killed him a few more times, but failed to get Fishron wings, so I moved on to fighting Mothrons in the Solar Eclipse to get a broken hero sword. Luckily, I also got menacing Mothron wings, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. My newly reforged Terrablade in hand, I took on Golem, who I embarrassingly died to twice before eking out a win. Nothing about the fight was particularly hard, I kinda just suck at Golem. But with my new beetle husks, I mined more chlorophyte and made the offensive type beetle armor. After killing the destroyer for more money, I took on the lunatic cultist, which was pretty easy, although I had to use the frost brand for its smaller projectile to avoid activating the clones. The pillars didn't contain anything of note, but as per usual, they were an annoying slog. My first attempt on the Moonlord was pretty awful, but after switching to using the cute fish run mount in the rain, I was able to get pretty close to winning. After numerous more attempts, I eventually took him down, although since I'm bad, I had to just run away the whole time, so my DPS was pretty bad even though I was using the Terra Blade. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have a challenge suggestion for another Terraria or Elden Ring playthrough, let me know in the comments below.